Warning! This video contains spoilers. If you haven't played the Danganronpa games, please go play them and come back. Hello, and welcome to this video. Today we're doing something different. Since Danganronpa is one of my favorite series of all time and Danganronpa 2x2, it's coming soon. I wanted to do at least this so you guys know how I feel about these characters and what I'm expecting from the new game. Because, yeah, I won't be doing a playthrough of the previous games in my channel. Sadly, or happily, I've played these games many times and I've seen the animes and I've seen everything, so it wouldn't be genuine for me to do a playthrough of the games. But anyway, these characters are so interesting, and I love the Danganronpa 2 cast. I feel like to this day, it's the best one. So the way we're going to do this time is we're going to divide all of these people between killers, victims, and survivors. Because I feel like an A, B, C, D tier list is just way too boring. Let's start with Akane. I feel like Akane, other than participating with Nekomaru and stuff during the game, she didn't do much. And she had her moments, but she didn't really do much. So I would like her to have a more standing participation. And I feel like, and maybe this will be controversial, but I don't feel like she could be a killer. The only way that Akane could be a killer is that she kills someone by accident, right? And I don't know, I feel like we would have a situation where she's just a little bit too dumb to cover up herself. So I don't think it is feasible to have her as a killer. It would be like a really boring case. So I feel like maybe she could be a victim. Like she had that particular situation in chapter 3 where she was like out of commission. I feel like if something like that happens again, which I hope it doesn't, because I really dislike the what happened in chapter 3. I feel like she could die, and she's one of the most gullible of these characters. So I feel like she could be a victim. Yeah. About Akane, like I said, I really wish she had more to her, but she's like a muscle brain and that's it. But anyway, I feel like having her as a victim would fit her better. Next is Fuyuhiko. Fuyuhiko was a survivor in the original, and he had his whole character growth and stuff. But I feel like that would be boring to have again, because we already saw it, we already know what happened. And I feel like if things happened in a different way, Fuyuhiko could have been easily a killer. Even if he didn't actually want to kill someone, he has the instinct, like the background to do so. Like he basically almost did it. It's just like Peko-chama happened to intervene first, and yeah, he was like an outcast for a lot of the game, so that could potentially make him a killer this time around. And I love Fuyuhiko. I think he's one of the most interesting characters in the game. I feel like having him as a killer would be very interesting. Next is my man Gundam. Gundam, sadly, was a victim in the last one. So I feel like Gundam as a killer is not... It doesn't make sense, right? He's just too good. And he has his hamsters and all. I feel like... I mean, no, never mind. I messed up. He wasn't a victim. He was actually a killer. He didn't do so of his own accord. Like, he didn't want to do it. He had to do it to save everyone else. That's what I misremember, because I feel like Tanaka was like a really good person, and he was. He indeed was. So he was a killer in the last one. I want my man Tanaka to survive, man. He deserves it. He deserves some time with Sonya. Yeah, I'd put him on Survivor. I feel like I feel like Tanaka deserves to go to all the way. And we have Sayonji. Sayonji. Oh my god, I hate this character. I hate this character. I feel like I, I cannot put her as a killer because I feel like she doesn't. She just all talk and no game, and I don't want her to survive. Sorry to Sayonji fans, but I don't really like her. I feel like I don't know. She's just annoying through the entire game. She almost went through a character growth and she died. So this is something between here and here. Like I don't I would rather have her as a victim again. And I mean, we need to have repeats, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave Sayonji there. I really didn't like her character at all during Danganronpa 2. I feel like she is a necessary evil. Everyone being so nice and all doesn't quite work, I guess. But yeah. Then we have our girl here. Where do I put you? I feel like Ibuki didn't have her time to shine. I mean, he did a lot. She did a lot during the first case, and that's it. She helped us find or remember what happened. I wonder how would a killer Ibuki work? I don't feel like she has it in her, right? She's just too nice and maybe a little gullible. Yeah, I want Ibuki to survive. Yeah, I want Ibuki to go all the way and maybe have more character growth. I really like her character. She's really nice. Soda was a survivor in the original, and I feel like he didn't do much. And I feel like he kind of had a part on the third trial. With all the communication stuff for Ibuki's and Sayonji's. So I maybe having him as a victim, like early on, that does change how that's going to work, right? Probably having him as a victim or a killer, but like he's way too similar to Leon from the first game, right? Maybe have him as a victim, as an early victim, and that would change the story a lot because then the whole communication thing wouldn't happen. So it would change the story for these two. Yeah, I think that works. Mahiro sadly was a victim in the first one. I really like Mahiro. I feel like she didn't have her time to shine, but I feel like Mahiro as a killer just makes sense, right? She's not bad person. She's not a bad person, but I feel like having her as a victim again, I don't want that. Maybe as a late victim, so we can see more of her and maybe Sayonji. But no, she has to be either a survivor or a killer to be interesting. She's really feisty, so I feel like she would be a really good killer or a very interesting killer. Yeah, I want her as a killer more than a survivor. That would be interesting, but try to put her like in chapter 4 or chapter 5. Come on. Okay. Next, we have Mikan. Well, I kind of hate love her. Mikan is like one of those characters that sometimes it's very annoying, sometimes it's just cute. But Mikan is really important to the whole Danganronpa story. If you've seen the anime, if you've played the games, for all the wrong reasons. But I feel like Mikan fits more as a victim than as a killer. I feel like the only reason that she was a killer was because of the spare disease in chapter 3. So yeah, I don't really want her as a killer because I hated that plot device. I either want her as a survivor, as a victim. Let's go with the victim. I feel like she as a victim would be really, really interesting. Or, yeah, she had her time to shine. Nagito Komaeda. Another one of that you hate and love at the same time. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Nagito. I don't want you as a victim again, Nagito. Please be a killer. Be interesting. Yeah, him as a survivor doesn't really make sense. Let's have Nagito as a killer. Let's see how we can beat this twisted mind into submission. Because they made that freaking annoying case at the end, so he knows how to make a good case. I feel like I want him to be a challenge more than just being dead and leaving a challenge, if that makes sense. Then we have Nekomaru. Nekomaru. I feel like Nekomaru kind of has to be a victim, right? Or either a survivor or a victim. Again, he only will be a killer if he did it on accident or someone provoked him enough. But I don't see him like that. Nekomaru is also a really nice character. Yeah, let's have Nekomaru survive instead this time. Yeah, let's twist this around and see what happens. Peko-jama. Peko-jama. I feel like Peko had like a perfect arc with Fuyuhiko here, but this time, since we're changing the plot, maybe he tries to save her, and she survives. We go the opposite way in this one again. He is a killer, and then she tries to persuade everyone that he's not the killer, but and then he survives, and then he tells her that she loves her and that she needs to live on her own, and then we see a different perspective from Peko. Yeah, that works nicely. Then Sonia. I don't know. I don't hate Sonia, but I just don't really have strong feelings for her. Like, the entire thing with Gundam was interesting, but I feel like Sonia is also someone that if she was a killer, she would be really annoying to find, because you wouldn't expect her to be a killer, right? But she has her past. She knows about war tactics, and she was a princess and stuff. So she could do it. I feel like she could do it, and she did things that were immoral, to say the least, in the game, or it was alluded to. So maybe she could be a killer. Yeah, like that. What do we do with you, Teru? Teru, you were a killer, but I don't feel like you were a good killer. I feel like your case was like pretty straightforward. You also had Nagito knowing that what you did, so you are not a good killer. I do not want him to survive again. Let's just have him die. That's a big. Actually, let's have him die in the first chapter. Let's do something like this. First chapter, second chapter. No, you in second chapter, third chapter with Sayonji. Maybe you die again, but you die with a different person, and it makes sense because these two were two of the sick people, and then you die. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who do we have for our fifth case? Oh my god, this is going to be hard. You need to survive, right? Because having another dying protagonist doesn't really make sense unless they're going to throw us a 180, and then Nagito is going to be our protagonist after Hinata dies somehow. But nah. Yeah, Hinata has to live with this. And Chiaki. Chiaki was sadly a killer in the first one. She didn't mean to, but she was a killer. I don't want that to happen again, but her whole arc is like sacrificing and being there for her friends. So maybe she dies again, but now as a victim, not as a killer. I feel like that would be more fitting to her. And that leaves us with... I also don't want Chiaki to be a killer. I want her to survive though, but we all know that that doesn't mean anything. So she probably has to die anyway. And that would leave Togami as our 5th killer. Does that work? I don't feel like Togami would be a killer. He was all in trying to save everyone. But maybe something happens and he just becomes the fifth chapter killer for some reason. He just goes mad. He's the mad guy instead of Komeda. Does that work? Do I feel happy with this? Yeah, I feel like this 5 would be very interesting to see in the last 5. I didn't leave no one from the original survivors here. Oh my god. Well, yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Well, this is how I feel about Danganronpa 2 and their characters, and how I feel it would be really interesting to see these characters in these positions in the new game. I will be really disappointed if the new game is just a reskin of the original. I really want him to check out the story, because if there is a Danganronpa to do it, it's this one. So please, Spike Chunsoft, give me this. Well, I hope you liked it. I would like to hear your opinion in this matter, because I really like Danganronpa. I could spend hours talking about Danganronpa. Well, anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.